Welcome back, listeners, to Cosmic Confluence with your host, Sana. Now, today we are stepping into a terrain that every one of us knows too well, but rarely admit out loud. Judgment. Not toward others, but the quiet kind that consumes us, eats us from the inside. The kind that convinces us we are not enough. And it keeps our intuition, our actual internal compass, on mute. Listeners, let's be real for a sec. Most of us don't wake up thinking, I'm judging myself today. It happens in the cracks, in the comparison, in the pressure to be perfect, in the fear of messing things up, in the moment we shrink ourselves instead of listening to that whisper inside. It has happened with me so many times, listeners. And yet, we build our entire lives around those tiny judgments. They shape our decisions, our relationships, the stories we tell about who we are. So today on this episode of Cosmic Confluence, we get to unpack that with someone who has built an entire framework for dismantling those blocks with radical honesty. Lynn Bunch has spent over 25 years helping spiritually curious, high-performing humans reconnect with intuition after years of self-abandonment. Her ID blueprint isn't just a method. It's a reckoning, a return, a map back to the self we lost along the way. So grab your favorite cup of beverage, take a deep breath, a journal, or just your curiosity. That is more than enough, because we are going deep into how judgment kills higher consciousness and how releasing it might just be the doorway to a life where pain, struggle, and fear stop being the fuel that drives you. So Len, welcome to the show, and it's really, really an honor to have you here with us.
Well, I'm the one that's honored. What a beautiful introduction. And it's so needed in our world right now. Don't you believe that, Asana?
Absolutely, Len.
Yes. Thank you for trusting and letting me come on your show and to actually help other people really understand maybe the deeper mechanisms of what keeps us trapped in that self-judgment or judgment of other people as well.
Exactly. And I think it's kind of, very surprising, and it's also kind of vicious that judgment is something that we actively don't realize. Because,
True statement.
I mean, maybe in our workplace or in our conversations with our family members or loved ones, in relationships, there are so many moments, where we kind of silently start judging ourselves, our decisions, our actions. So with that, Lynn, you teach that judgment is one of the biggest blockers to accessing intuition.
100%. And yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
So from your perspective, what actually happens internally when someone judges themselves or others?
So what starts to happen, let me just define, it's not the, Webster Dictionary term of what judgment is, but it is mine. And I've been doing this for almost 30 years now. What happens is when you know that you want separation, okay? So you want separation from other people, judgment is present. When you feel separate from someone, they're projecting judgment onto you. But the other one is when you feel like you're separate from your own true, authentic essence and genuine authenticity of who you are as a being, right? As a spiritual being, as a human being, that is when that separation, when you feel like I can't even, I look in the mirror and I go, I don't even know who you are. I don't know, I keep letting this negative mind chatter get in the way of who I truly am as this authentic being, as why I came here, what I'm doing in this world. Does that make sense? So separation is the key, and that's what identifies whether we're in judgment or we're experiencing judgment, and we're not in the unconditional truth of who we are. Or other people, right? Or who they are for themselves. Yeah. So starting there is crucial. We have to understand when judgment is present. We're human beings. We're going to judge probably 100 times a day. You can't stop the process of judging, But what you can is first identify it, because it will stop the flow of you being able to hear the true essence of who you are and the spirit within you, or the inner voice or the inner compass of truth.
Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think people listening, they're nodding, because we have all had those moments where we knew something inside, but we kind of, like ignored it or like, shoved it, because of fear or some internal rule book. Like it's really wild, how quick judgment it becomes our default.
It is a true statement too, Sana, because what's happening is when pain, and these are the three modalities that actually, they're not modalities, I'm sorry. They're really the three motivators, the things that are actually creating for us to notice that we're in this judgment and that we're not connected to our own inner wisdom. Pain, struggle, and fear. And those three things are motivators to get us back into that aligned space with our own inner wisdom. And instead of using that as a negative, we need to use it as, wow, okay, that motivator is present. I am feeling separate. I'm feeling separate from my own authentic being. I'm feeling separate from other people. So once you understand that, once you start there, you have then the opening to identify, okay, what is it that I really want to move through? What's that negative mind chatter that's stopping me? Whether it's, I don't like the conversation I had yesterday with my loved one and I didn't clear it up, or I'm going to work and I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. And so it stops us from really being who we truly are meant to be in the world and who we're meant to be for ourselves and to enjoy life. It really does stop that judgment is the killer of higher consciousness. Nothing can get through. No messaging systems, no intuitive hunches or nudges. Nothing can actually penetrate when you're in that self-judgment or judging other people. And it's rampant. It's actually rampant right now in our world and in ourselves. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not only physically, but, I mean, and sometimes it can, seem like so ridiculous that, I sometimes really question the very basics of humanity.
Yeah, the fundamentals of humanity, because the ridiculousness of it is, well, why are we focusing on that? A lot of times, to your point, we focus on the physical, the external, or, hey, I don't have enough of this, or I don't, I wish I wouldn't have said that in my relationships, or maybe I went to the wrong career. It really is, and unfortunately, the only way through is to actually identify, wow, I'm in that judgmental state. I am processing it negatively. And to stop yourself, most people don't even catch it. That's what's unfortunate, is they function through life, on a daily basis, and they're not even catching that they're wanting that separation or that they feel separate from other people. They're just kind of in I'll call it like an automatic, kind of a little bit of a dreading, dredging up different things that they don't want to deal with. And you have to deal with them. You got to get through it. And presenting, an opening to be compassionate when somebody's in that place, or being compassionate with yourself. Like, wow, I'm just not feeling like me. I'm just not feeling like I really want to, have the things that I want to create in my life. It's difficult. You have to stop it. And literally pause. A lot of people go, well, how are you going to do that during the day if I'm busy at work? Well, go into the restroom. We all go to the bathroom by ourselves, right? Go into the restroom, take a minute, and literally just realign. Like, okay, hold on a second. I didn't like how things unfolded. Take the time to confront that. And, if it's an interaction with somebody that you're judging, or if it's with yourself and you're like, take the time to really shake off some of the old stuff that is playing in your mind that is not even present in the present moment, right? You have to be, we're all in the present moment, or we're in the past thinking of something we didn't want to do, or we're in the future of the worry of what's going to happen. We got to stay present to what we're currently feeling.
Exactly.
We don't always do that. And we think we don't have the time. And I'm like, of course you have the time. We have to make the time.
Yeah, that's a very powerful statement. We have to make the time.
We do, because otherwise you're just running through life and there's no value anymore. we're not extracting any of the energy that is what creates our creativity and our inspiration and our self motivation to keep producing all the things that we know can help other people and help ourselves in our lives.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the judgment is so present sometimes that you have to know it's there before you can do anything with it.
Okay. And then some people here would argue that judgment is not always bad. It's actually a survival tool helping us assess danger or make better decisions.
I love that you brought that up. So my definition, of judgment is a negative because it's actually wanting separation. What you're referring to, or what I call discernment. Discernment is something that you have to have. Discernment is about discerning the facts. But in discernment, you're discerning what are the facts. That's going to help me make a better decision. What are the facts about something? And that's my two different definitions. Separation is judgment, which means you want to cut off, you want to separate yourself, or you feel separate from your own experience of life. Discernment is, wow, I'm sad. Wow, discernment is, oh, it looks like you're not having a good day. Is there something that I can do to help you with that? Discernment is very important, discerning the facts of the situation or the facts of what you're going through. So my two different ones are discernment is a yay, we want to keep that. Judgment is actually going to separate you. Judgment is wanting somebody away from you, or wanting to be away from the situation, or wanting to run from something.
I think that is a very, very much needed distinction because I think the survival part is where people get confused. Like, we kind of cling to fear because it feels responsible, but that's kind of really just old programming. We have been told that this is bad, this is good, this that. We should not use our own discernment.
So I think that's interesting, because when you say that, like discernment to me, you will know the distinction. You can decide, because you're not fighting against something. When you talk about survival, when we're surviving something, it's mostly because we don't feel like we can create something different. We can't we can't get out of it, So fear is a motivator for us to stop and go, okay, hold on. What do we need to discern here? Is this something that I have to do something about? Let's say you have a fear of losing your job, for example, right? You're in an environment in which you're like, this is just not healthy for me anymore. It's not a good thing. And you go, you are clear. I'm in fear because I need the finance. I need the financial support, or I need to be around these people. I don't know how to get out of it. So fear will motivate you to stop and really do an assessment. Okay, what are the facts here? What do I need to discern? Do I need to get another job maybe before I let go of this one? But it's coming in to help you not judge the situation, but to discern what is the next move for you. And a lot of times we get so overwhelmed with the fear that we don't take action.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's one thing that I teach about, because I have my whole ID blueprint is all about different modalities and different ways in which emotionally, physically, some of the old patterns, releasing old beliefs that no longer serve us, that did at one time, making sure that we are assimilating the information that we came here to explore, right? That we came here to be in the world with. And we get away from that. We follow other people's thoughts about what we should be doing, or maybe what we're taught, different patterns that other people have, our parents, all the way to our loved ones, and then we teach it down to our children. And sometimes we're not even connected to ourselves anymore. And I think that's a bigger issue right now, and what we're really having to, kind of go back in and internalize the truth of what we're here to do and what we want to do. Does that make sense?
It does. And because your ID blueprint, it focuses on arenas like, finance, relationships, support, health, time, and wisdom. And I think all of these arenas, they are kind of they come from our childhood experiences, our upbringing, what we have seen, maybe our parents or our loved ones or our friends. And then, some of these areas, they really, really kind of become like blockers for us. For example, we tend to compare ourselves. Okay, oh, my friend is earning that much salary, that much income. What I'm doing right now, I'm a loser. What I'm doing, I mean, we start judging ourselves. But um, and I think it definitely makes sense and why you are focusing on these arenas.
Well, and I'll tell you, the reason I really identified the 6 different areas because people would come to me for their assistance and guidance and looking for, okay, how do I shift something? And I realized a long time ago, these are the 6 main areas that people come to talk to me about. And if we felt like we were in charge and back in alignment and feeling true to ourselves in those 6 main areas, you're going to see that, I mean, it changes everything. The whole game changes, right? If we're taking action that is truly from our core and truly from why we're driven to do the things we're doing. When you compare yourself to somebody else who's making more money, if you could bring yourself back into truth with that and go, okay, well, what is it that I'm judging about myself that stopped me from going for what I truly wanted? Maybe you have a better job in the environment that you're in, but it's not giving you the income that you're needing. So we do have to look at the income and we do have to go, okay, what are the strategies that I can take to actually bring that into a better, so I'm elevating myself. I'm actually making the kind of money that I want to make. And those are things that if we have self-judgment, we've already blocked that. We've already decided on some level, maybe I don't have I wasn't raised with the type of culture that really supported me being independent and going for something, and so I need to shift myself a little bit in that way so that I can break down some of the barriers that I've been taught.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And out of all these 6 arenas, Lynn, which one tends to collapse first when someone is actually living in chronic judgment?
Wow, that's a wonderful question that you just asked. Which areas actually go first? I'm going to tell you, usually it's your health, because what starts to happen, the 3 that are really, that kind of go together too, is health, time, and finance. Because what will happen is when we spend our time, right, which is what we do each and every day, whether you're living in, your work environment, where you're home, how you spend your time with just your family members, you'd think it was relationship. But the real truth is it's health, time, and finance, because those are the places that we spend the most time and are the most unhappy most of the time. And when you're spending time in a financial place just to get the money, your health will actually it'll start going wonky, right? You'll start getting illness. It's the one thing that will pull you away from, because if we're sick, we're not showing up. But then it starts bleeding into relationships. Then it starts bleeding into, right, some of the other areas.
It is so wild to know that all of these are so interconnected, and I'm really actually, I mean, that's why it all starts first with health, and I think it's a kind of loop because even the way in which your health is getting affected, those signals or signs are like the manifestations of the dis-ease that is there, maybe emotionally and mentally within you.
Yeah. Your health, and the way that I define health is not just health, but it's your physical health, but it's also your image. So those 2 things are tied together, because if your image is feeling like it's off, or you're not, like, this isn't how I want to portray myself, usually it's an internal job, right? It's something that you're actually not feeling good about, and it will actually start the dis-ease, as you just said. It creates like an opening for that negativity to start becoming toxic within your own body, because you've decided that you're not going to live the way that you truly want to, or you don't think you can, or like, oh, I gotta go to this job because I need the money, or I have to stay in this relationship, even though they're not serving you anymore. So there's one thing that people don't like: confrontation.
Yeah.
Right? Most people are like, I don't want confrontation. But I want you to look in the word confrontation. The word confront is in there. We have to confront our health. We have to confront how we spend our time and who we spend our time with, right? So if you're at a job that you're spending so much time with people and you're creating a negative feeling within yourself because it's not how you want to spend your time, you got to confront it, or the confrontation's going to come. And sometimes the confrontation is between two people or or a situation, but it also can be a confrontation within your own body. It can be something that happens within your own body, an illness that has you like go, okay, stop, I'm going to confront this.
Absolutely. That's very well put, Lynn. Very well put.
Thank you.
Super, super. So in the interest of time, Lynn, I think our listeners would be so curious to explore more about your ID blueprint. And if they would like to share their thoughts about this conversation with you, they would like to connect with you, what would be the best medium?
Oh, I appreciate you asking. So you can get a hold of me. It's lynnmbunch.com. So that's my website. You can go to the website. It will actually tell you everything to know. You can know about working with me personally. That'll tell you everything you need to know about my programs. And program itself, the ID Blueprint, is very extensive. I always tell people it's kind of like the PhD for personal development. It's extensive. It goes deep. But I got to tell you, you learn everything that you need to know about yourself. And it brings a level of accountability and responsibility for what you're creating in your life. It's very impactful. It shifts everything about yourself and how you create your life. So lynnmbunch.com, that's how you get a hold of me.
Wonderful. So listeners, I'm going to have all these links in the show notes. So please do check out the website and connect with Lynn, share your thoughts and opinions, and also refer to them along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And you know what? I think this conversation is a reminder for all of us that we desperately need it right now. Judgment is subtle. It is sneaky. It shapes who we think we are allowed to be. But Lynn, thanks to you, hearing you, it really breaks down how it disconnects us from intuition and how we can actually rebuild that connection. I mean, it is possible. And I think the fact that it is possible itself, it's really a huge motivation.
It is. And I can't thank you enough for having me on your platform to really speak to people in such a deep way, knowing that you can self-regulate your own emotions. You can do that yourself, but you have to make sure first that you go, wow, am I feeling separate? Am I not really wanting to stay connected to my own, authentic, genuine, creative, endeavors in life? And so, it's such an important subject. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And to everyone listening, consider this as your invitation to pause. Notice where judgment shows up in your life. Not to shame yourself, but to get curious again. Because the moment you step out of it, even for a second, you create space for something deeper, something wiser, something that already knows your next step. Thank you so much to all the listeners for tuning into this episode of Cosmic Confluence. Until next time, this is your host, Sana, signing off.